On this episode of China Uncensored, China's garbage ban stinks. And we're back. The Chinese Communist Party has come up with a brilliant solution to its pollution problem. Blame it on the foreigners. Pollution is one of the few problems the Chinese regime can't ignore, because it's really easy to see. That is, if you can see anything. So after decades of rapid industrialization and economic growth at any cost, the Chinese regime is doing what it does best, cracking down on things. In this case, pollution. But the party is also doing the other thing it does best, shifting the blame. China is banning foreign garbage. Foreign garbage is loathed by everyone, as one Chinese environment minister put it. In this notification to the World Trade Organization, the Chinese regime announced it would ban the import of 24 kinds of solid waste. That includes things like paper, as well as tires, textiles, plastics, and glass, and it will limit the importation of other wastes such as steel, copper, and aluminum scrap. China is also banning other types of waste like Jersey Shore DVDs. The reason? Protection of human health or safety, protection of animal or plant life or health, and protection of the environment. Now you might be asking yourself, China imports foreign garbage? I mean, I know the US imports a lot of Chinese garbage, but who imports actual garbage? Well, you may not know this, but garbage is big business. You may see a pile of trash, but I see gold. Gold, you hear me? Recycling other people's garbage is a global industry worth billions, and China is a huge part of it. In 2016, China imported 45 million tons of scrap metal, waste paper, and plastic, together worth over $18 billion. And it's the United States that's sending China most of its garbage. According to the Solid Waste Association of North America, yes, that's a thing, China is the largest export market for recyclables generated in the United States. They import about 13 million tons of paper and nearly 800,000 tons of plastic from the United States annually. And really, it creates this circle of life thing. China makes a lot of cheap goods. They're packed into cardboard boxes and sent to the United States, where they're briefly used and then thrown away. And all that waste ultimately makes a trip back to where it started, China, to be recycled. It's beautiful. But the benefits of recycling the world's garbage went way beyond money. 30 years of China's manufacturing boom was fueled by garbage. Garbage the Chinese regime encouraged the world to give to China. Take copper, for instance. It's essential to modern living. You can't transmit power or information without it. But why mine your own copper when the rest of the world is throwing theirs away? According to the book Junkyard Planet, in 2012, almost half of China's copper was made from recycled scrap, and 70% of that scrap came from the United States. Same goes for plastic and paper. It's cheaper, quicker, and easier to recycle plastic and paper than it is to drill oil wells or cut down trees. And it's a huge energy saver on top of that. According to Bloomberg, recycling 1 ton of paper saves enough energy to power the average American home for 6 months, while using recycled material to produce plastic reduces the energy required by as much as 87%. So since China has benefited so much from recycling the world's garbage, why the ban? It's a convenient scapegoat. Rather than dealing with the root causes of pollution, which are numerous and complex, the Chinese regime can blame the problem on foreigners and point to the ban as a tangible step towards solving the problem. The reality is, most of China's pollution problem comes from internal factors. While recycling foreign garbage has created a booming industry, it's not always run in the safest or most sanitary way. China's own recycling system is a mess. According to the World Bank, in 8 years, China will be throwing away 1.4 million tons of garbage a day, twice as much as the United States. Half of that will be burned. And according to an in-depth report by NPR, they're burning garbage the cheapest way possible, filling China's skies with an unknown amount of cancer-causing heavy metal and dioxin emissions. Rather than solving the environmental problems, this crackdown will actually worsen them, and do so at the expense of jobs and economic growth around the world. According to this study, 40,000 American jobs relied on the garbage and recycling industry, and in China, that number is multiples larger. The Chinese ban on foreign garbage, while giving the Communist Party something to boast about, actually hurts Chinese people and doesn't really do much to protect the environment. In the meantime, what happens to all that garbage? Well, right now, it's piling up in Hong Kong. Eventually, other Southeast Asian countries will be able to take some of it to give their economies the boost it did for China. But most of the garbage will end up in landfills or the ocean. So what do you think of China's garbage ban? Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. See you next time. Are you tired of sorting through all that garbage on YouTube just to find a few pieces of gold? Well, now you can go to ChinaUncensored.tv, where we upload 24-karat gold half-hour episodes every Friday. Go there now, ChinaUncensored.tv.